All right, so we're back and ready to dive back into this crazy college football season.
Yeah, weeks 6 through 12.
Yeah, it has been a wild ride.
Absolutely wild.
Yeah, lots of upsets.
So many upsets.
Rankings going all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
and players putting up some just absolutely crazy numbers.
Oh, yeah, just unbelievable.
So are you ready to break it all down?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, so let's start with the games themselves. I think week 6,
Okay.
Pretty wild, but I think week 7 is where things
Yeah, things really got going.
really started to get interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what stood out to you in week 7?
Well, one game that I think had everybody talking, even though very few people saw it,
Oh, yeah.
was SMU versus Missouri.
Yeah.
SMU managed to pull off the victory 28-14.
Oh, wow.
But the game was streamed very late at night,
Oh, really?
and then the recorded footage mysteriously vanished due to technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Sounds a little suspicious.
Yeah, especially with Coach Todd's reputation for
Keeping things close to the vest?
keeping things close to the vest. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, really, SMU's only had one televised game
Wow.
all season.
That's crazy.
So yeah, this definitely raised some eyebrows.
Yeah.
But even without the footage, you can look at the box score, and I think it tells a story.
Oh, okay.
Missouri's usually very reliable quarterback, Reggie Sharp,
Yeah.
had a rough night.
Oh, no.
Threw 4 interceptions.
Oof. That's gotta hurt.
Yeah, not good.
What was going on with the SMU offense?
Well, their running back, John McKillop,
Okay.
had a monster game,
Wow.
rushing for over 100 yards.
That's amazing.
And all this while, Coach DV was, shall we say, dealing with the aftermath of his little weed gummy experiment.
Ah, yes, the infamous gummy incident.
Yes.
Glad to hear he's back on the sidelines, though.
Me too, me too.
Maybe he's taking to pretzels now.
Yeah, hopefully.
Maybe some fruit snacks. I don't know. Now, in week 8, we had a fascinating reunion of sorts.
We did.
Florida State, led by Coach Hingle McCringleberry, went head-to-head with his former team, Boise State.
Right.
Coach McCringleberry. You remember him, right? The one who had that rather scandalous retirement from Boise State?
Oh, yeah, I remember that, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then resurfaced at Florida State with a new mustache,
Oh,
a new name,
yeah.
trying to reinvent himself. It was
Yeah.
a whole thing.
And that game was a little personal for him.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Florida State ended up winning 21-14,
Okay.
but Boise State kept it close
Oh, wow.
right until the end.
Oh, man. Now, week 9 is where things really exploded.
Oh, yeah.
We had 2 major showdowns that completely shook up the rankings.
Yeah.
First, there was the clash of undefeated Titans.
Mm,
Virginia Tech ranked number 2
yeah.
against Houston ranked number 3.
Huge game.
Oh, yeah. People were calling it the regular season national championship.
Right.
It doesn't get much bigger than that.
Right. It doesn't, and it lived up to the hype.
Oh, wow.
Well, not in the way Virginia Tech fans were hoping.
Oh, no.
No. Houston absolutely dominated,
Oh, wow.
winning 45-20.
That's a blowout.
Yeah, they had this huge goal line stand,
Oh, yeah.
followed by a pick 6.
Oh, man.
Virginia Tech just couldn't recover.
So just to be clear for the folks at home,
Yeah.
that means that their defense prevented the offense from scoring when they were just inches away from the end zone.
Literally inches.
And then they intercepted a pass and ran it all the way back for a touchdown.
All the way back.
That is just brutal.
Brutal. Yeah.
Talk about a momentum swing.
Yeah, momentum completely swung.
And that was just the beginning of Virginia Tech's troubles, right?
Sadly, yes.
Oh, man.
But before we get into their downward spiral,
Okay.
we have to talk about the other massive Week 9 matchup.
Okay.
Florida State versus California.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this game had more than just football drama.
I bet.
It had some serious coach rivalry fireworks.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. California had just briefly tasted that number 1 ranking
Yeah.
and then lost it the very next week.
Oh, that must have been brutal.
It was a tough week for them,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Yeah.
They lost 36-14 to Florida State,
Okay.
but the score doesn't even begin to capture the intensity of this rivalry.
Oh, I bet this is where Coach DV's extracurricular activities came into play, right?
Oh, yeah.
The gummies made another appearance.
Let's just say Coach DV overindulged in his herbal supplements
Oh, no.
and ended up using the California Stadium PA system
Oh, my.
to deliver some rather colorful commentary
Yeah.
directed at Coach McCringleberry.
Only Coach DV could turn a football game into a personal roast session
Yeah.
while under the influence.
It's a skill.
But Florida State wasn't exactly playing nice either, right?
No, they added fuel to the fire by refusing to kneel out the clock at the end of the game.
Oh, wow.
Which is usually considered a sign of respect when you have a comfortable lead.
Yeah.
So it just added another layer of animosity to an already heated rivalry.
Yeah, that's a classic power move.
That's classic power move.
And to make matters worse for California, they had to play another game immediately after that loss because of a scheduling quirk.
Oh, yeah. Talk about a brutal doubleheader.
Oh, man.
They faced UCF in week 10.
Okay.
And it was another blowout. UCF won 35-7.
Oof.
With Coach Matt's underdog strategy seemingly working like a charm.
It's almost like Coach Matt knows how to manipulate the system.
Maybe?
Or maybe he just has an incredible knack for getting his players to perform at their best.
Yeah.
When everyone's counting them out.
Could be.
Either way, it was a rough week for California.
It was. Their coach was reportedly so devastated after those 2 losses.
Oh, wow.
That people were speculating he'd gone on a silent retreat with Aaron Rodgers.
What is it with football coaches?
No.
And these retreats?
I know. Need it. Maybe they just need a break from all the yelling and the pressure.
That's true.
Speaking of pressure, week 11 brought us a shocker.
Okay.
When Miami upset Virginia Tech.
Oh, wow. And not just a small upset.
Yeah.
They shut them out 13-0.
Wow. Virginia Tech was looking pretty shaky at that point.
They were.
You know, there were rumors swirling that their Coach Ryan wasn't exactly prioritizing hydration.
I heard those rumors.
Yeah, on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Let's just say there were questions about his focus during that game.
Yeah. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, and their quarterback, Gabe Chisholm, had a nightmare performance.
Yeah, he did.
Turning the ball over 4 times.
4 times. That's tough.
It was just a recipe for disaster.
It was.
But even with all the ups and downs, California managed to have a moment of redemption in week 12,
right?
Didn't they, against Stanford?
They did, and it was historic.
Okay.
Their running back, P.J. Bryant, set a single-game receiving record.
Oh, wow.
With a mind-boggling 919 yards.
919 yards. Are you sure you didn't accidentally add a digit there?
I'm positive 919 yards.
That's like running the length of the field 4 times and then some?
And then some.
Goodness gracious.
Wow.
It was an absolutely incredible performance, especially considering their struggles earlier in the season.
Yeah.
I mean, they still lost the game.
Oh.
But at least they had that record-breaking achievement to hold on to.
Yeah, so looking back at all these games,
yeah,
what stands out to you as the most significant turning point in the season so far?
Well, I think Houston's decisive victory over Virginia Tech in week 9.
Yeah.
I think that really shifted the landscape.
Okay.
It solidified Houston as the top contender.
Okay.
And unfortunately for Virginia Tech fans, it marked the beginning of their downfall.
Yeah, that makes sense. But what about UCF's resurgence?
Yeah.
Do you think they have what it takes to go all the way this season?
They're definitely a team to watch.
Yeah.
Coach Matt has a knack for getting his players to peak at just the right time.
Yeah.
And with Seth Dasher's consistency at quarterback and Santiago Duggan's explosiveness as both a receiver and kick returner, they could absolutely be a threat.
Okay, so we've covered the major games, the upsets, the comebacks, even Coach DV's gummy escapades.
Oh, yeah.
What's next on our college football journey?
Well, now that we've set the stage with the games, let's dive into some of the individual and team narratives that emerged during this wild stretch. Take a closer look at Houston's rise to dominance, UCF's remarkable comeback, California's roller coaster season, and, of course, Virginia Tech's unfortunate fall from grace.
Oh, man. All ears hit me with those team spotlights.
All right, let's do it. Let's start with Houston. I mean, they've been an absolute force this season, and Coach Austin deserves a ton of credit for leading them to a perfect record and that coveted #1 ranking.
Yeah, they have been unstoppable, and their quarterback, Will Hedy Haddad, has been living up to his nickname.
Oh, yeah. He's been incredible.
Over 3,700 passing yards and 37 touchdowns.
Yep.
Those are some serious video game numbers.
Video game numbers.
Yeah.
He's been making some smart decisions spreading the ball around. But their success isn't just about the offense.
Oh, okay.
I mean, their defense has been a wall.
Oh, wow.
David DeVito and David Vaccaro.
Okay.
Creating havoc in the secondary.
I heard they have 14 interceptions combined.
They got 14 interceptions.
Wow.
It's a huge part of their success.
Yeah.
I mean, they can create turnovers and shut down opposing offenses like nobody's business.
It's like a defensive touchdown waiting to happen on every play.
Pretty much.
Now let's shift gears and talk about UCF.
Okay.
Remember how they started the season with those 2 losses?
Right.
People were writing them off, saying that Coach Matt had lost his touch.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly narratives can change in college football.
Yeah. They have battled their way back to that number 3 spot, though.
They have.
And everyone's wondering if his underdog strategy is at play again.
Right. It's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, they've won 3 championships in recent years, so it's not like they're really underdogs.
Right.
But I think if you look closely at their offensive schemes, they are taking more risks.
Okay.
You know, they're utilizing Santiago Degan's versatility in a really smart way, and it's paying off.
Yeah.
I think this is more than just psychology.
Oh.
I think it's clever coaching.
Makes you wonder if Coach Matt is intentionally playing down their chances just to motivate his team.
It's possible.
He's a master strategist, that's for sure.
For sure.
Speaking of teams with interesting storylines, we have to talk about California.
Oh, yeah.
Their season has been a roller coaster ride.
It has.
From the brief glory of being ranked number 1 to those back-to-back losses
Great.
against Florida State and UCF.
They've had some incredibly high highs and some brutal lows.
Yeah.
But, you know, even in the midst of those tough losses,
Yeah.
P.J. Bryant gave us that unforgettable record-breaking 919-yard receiving game.
Against Stanford.
Against Stanford.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around that 919 yards. How is that even possible?
Well, first of all, you need a running back with exceptional speed, agility, and hands. And P.J. Bryant has all of that.
Okay.
But you also need a coaching staff willing to think outside the box.
Yeah.
And an offensive line that can give the quarterback enough time to make those deep throws.
Yeah.
I think everything just clicked for California in that game.
Yeah.
And Bryant took full advantage of it.
Wow.
It was a remarkable performance, even in a losing effort.
Yeah, it's proof that California still has the potential to be a dangerous team.
Right.
Consistency seems to be their biggest issue.
I think so.
Now, on the flip side, we have Virginia Tech.
Right.
Started the season ranked number 1. And now they've plummeted all the way to number 12. What happened?
I think their early success might have been a bit of a mirage.
Oh, okay.
They've been plagued by turnovers, especially from their quarterback, Gabe Chisholm. And you know, those rumors about Coach Ryan's sideline demeanor haven't exactly inspired confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, a coach's leadership and focus can have a huge impact on a team's performance. And it seems like Virginia Tech might be struggling in that department.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if the pressure got to them.
It's possible.
They were the top dogs for a while, and then they just seemed to unravel.
Yeah, it's a tough business, this college football world.
He really is.
It's a constant battle to stay on top.
So we've talked about the teams, their journeys, some of the coaching dramas.
Right.
But what about the players who are the front runners for the Heisman Trophy at this point?
Well, right now, the Heisman race is incredibly tight.
Okay.
You have Missouri's wide receiver Randy Cormier putting up video game-like numbers.
Yeah.
137 catches, 3,044 yards, and 42 touchdowns.
Those are insane stats.
Insane stats.
Yeah.
Then you have Georgia Tech's quarterback Titus Winemixer Catalina.
Okay.
With a really impressive combination of passing and rushing touchdowns.
Like,
and let's not forget about Missouri's defensive end, Jalen Clay,
yeah,
who's been an absolute monster.
Oh, yeah.
Racking up 21 sacks.
Wait, 21 sacks? Is that even legal?
It's incredible to watch.
He's a one-man wrecking crew.
He is.
Wow. So you have wide receiver, a quarterback, and a defensive end all vying for the Heisman.
All vying for the Heisman.
It's going to be a nail-biter right down to the wire.
Absolutely.
I love a good Heisman race.
Me too.
And this one is shaping up to be a classic.
Classic.
But before we get too caught up in the individual awards, let's talk about the other players who are putting up big numbers this season.
Okay.
Who are some of the other statistical leaders we should be paying attention to? It feels like we've only just scratched the surface of all the talent out there this season. Who are some of the other standout players we should be talking about in terms of just putting up big numbers?
Well, in the quarterback department, we've got some familiar names at the top of the list. UCF's Seth Dasher has been incredibly impressive. 255.1 QB rating.
Wow.
37 touchdowns.
That's incredible.
And then you have Houston's Will Haddad with 3,707 passing yards and 37 touchdowns of his own.
Okay.
But it's not all about touchdowns. You have to consider interceptions, too. Missouri's Reggie Sharp has a whopping 57 passing touchdowns.
Wow.
But he's also thrown more interceptions than the other top quarterbacks.
So it's all about finding that balance between taking risks and protecting the ball right.
Exactly.
And that's something you see with running backs, too.
Absolutely. SMU's John McKillop is leading the rushing charts with 1,572 yards and 12 touchdowns.
Okay.
Houston's Alex Pujoraquez is close behind with 1,022 yards and 12 touchdowns.
Right.
But we can't forget about California's P.J. Bryant.
Yeah, besides that mind-blowing, record-breaking receiving game, he's also putting up solid rushing numbers and making a real impact in the passing game.
He's doing it all.
He's a versatile player.
For sure.
And while we're talking about receivers, we have to mention Missouri's Randy Cormier again.
Right.
He's blown past the 3,000-yard mark and already has 42 touchdowns.
Unbelievable.
He's on pace to shatter records if he keeps this up.
It's amazing to see players performing at that level.
It is. But there are other receivers who deserve some recognition, too.
Definitely SMU's Ty Longo is approaching 1,500 receiving yards.
Okay.
And Florida State's TJ Slater is averaging over 30 yards per catch.
Wow.
I mean, we've got so much offensive talent in college football right now.
It's awesome, but of course it's not all about offense.
Right.
There are some defensive players making life really difficult for all those talented quarterbacks and receivers.
For sure.
So who are the defensive stars we should be watching?
Well, when it comes to sacks, Missouri's Jalen Clay is in a league of his own with 21.
Wow.
But Georgia Tech's Tavares Hawk is right behind him with 19.
Okay.
And then there's UCF's Matt Drango, who's been a ball hawk in the secondary, leading the interceptions category with 9 picks.
So it's a constant battle between offense and defense.
Always.
And these guys are at the top of their game.
They are.
And speaking of the future of the game, you know, all this amazing talent on the field is making the recruiting battles even more intense.
Oh, yeah.
What's the latest in the race to secure the next generation of stars?
It's a fierce competition. Georgia Tech is currently at the top with an impressive 7 5-star commits.
Wow.
But Missouri just made a huge splash by securing the #1 overall player, wide receiver Pat Childress.
Okay.
6'6" giant from Buffalo, Minnesota.
6'6". That's a tall order for any defensive back to cover.
He's a game changer.
Wow.
And Virginia Tech and UCF are right there in the mix, constantly battling it out with Georgia Tech and Missouri for the top talent.
Yeah.
The recruiting game never stops.
So we've got dominant teams, incredible players, and this fierce competition for future stars. It's what makes college football so captivating.
It really is.
As we head into the conference championships, the stakes are higher than ever.
Absolutely.
And the big question on everyone's mind is, can anyone stop Houston's undefeated run?
Right.
They've been dominant all season long.
They have.
I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. UCF's resurgence has been one of the most exciting stories of the season.
It has.
And that Pac-12 championship matchup against Florida State is going to be a thriller. Oh, yeah. Coach McCringleberry versus Coach Matt. Talk about a clash of coaching styles.
It's going to be epic.
I'm also curious to see if Missouri can maintain their offensive momentum, even with Coach Stevie's, shall we say, unconventional sideline management style.
It'll be interesting to see.
I just hope he sticks to pretzels and stays off the PA system from now on.
Let's hope so.
But on a serious note, this college football season has been an absolute whirlwind.
It has.
We've seen teams rise and fall, witnessed players emerge as superstars, and the recruiting battles have been more intense than ever.
It's been a wild ride.
It's a testament to the passion and dedication of everyone involved, the players who leave it all on the field, the coaches who pour their hearts and souls into their teams, and the fans who bring the energy and excitement every single week.
Absolutely.
And as we head into these final games, the beauty of college football is that anything can happen.
That's right.
It's unpredictable, it's exciting, and it keeps us on the edge of our seats until the very last second.
You can't ask for more than that.
Soak it all in. Enjoy the conference championships, and keep those questions in mind. Which team has the potential to disrupt the current power structure?
Right.
Can UCF pull off another underdog victory?
Good question.
Will Houston maintain their dominance?
I'll see.
Or will a dark horse emerge from the pack to claim the ultimate prize?
Yeah.
This deep dive has been a blast, but as always, the conversation doesn't end here. Do your own research, keep those questions in mind, and let's see what unfolds in these final crucial games.
I can't wait.
We'll be back soon to break it all down. Until then, enjoy the show.